Our sixth story out front, the Costa Concordia blame game. The captain of the ship that slammed into the rocks off Italy's coast, who you see there, asked a panel of judges today for permission to tour the now righted ship. He said the deadly wreck was the fault of his crew. Just before the collision, in which 32 people lost their lives, Captain Francesco Schettino insists that he, quote, asked the helmsman to turn the ship left. He made an error and did not, and instead turned hard to the right. CNN legal analyst Danny Cevallow is out front. Now, Danny, he's on trial, obviously, for abandoning ship. He's on trial for manslaughter. He was the captain. How likely is it that he will go to jail, whether or not this statement that he alleges is true? Well,
first he has to be convicted, and Italy has a very different procedure than we do in the United States. For example, he's not being tried by a jury of his peers. This is a justice or a judge that hears the evidence, and in most cases you don't get a jury of your peers in Italy. And the burden here is interesting. If they have to prove negligence, because they have the same concept of negligence, although I'm sure it's different there, but if they have to prove negligence with all of these other people being implicated, even though he is the captain and he has the con, as we say, and he has the liability, is he liable if there are at least several other factors? Because when we think of criminal liability, we think of a very high burden, and it's similarly quite high in Italy. If you have multiple different people.
He and he alone. So if there is any doubt that other people turned the ship the wrong way or did something wrong, that would ameliorate.
Italy doesn't have beyond a reasonable doubt, but the judge must be internally convinced, whatever that means. So when you start implicating other individuals, it becomes more difficult to say this person was the most negligent or 90% negligent. Consider this. When it comes to negligence, we have an ordinary idea of what negligence is when we drive a car or do ordinary things. But when it comes to captaining a ship, that requires expert testimony, and we've heard expert testimony in this case. So ultimately, it's going to be a specialized area that this judge has to make a determination about.
So the bottom line, in a word, he may not go to jail.
He may not. He may not.